So for this video, I thought I'd do something a little bit different than what we've been doing so far, and that is that I wanted to rank my top 10 most anticipated games of 2025. Now, before we even get into it, this is my opinion. These are the games that I'm excited for. Basically, how I ranked this list is if all these games came out at the exact same time, which ones am I more likely to play or buy whenever they do come out? So this is my opinion. Your opinion will definitely differ from me. What I ask is that if it does, let me know how it does down in the comments section below. If you must, you can leave a dislike, but maybe turn that dislike upside down into a like. As always, subscribe if you like the video, and with that, let's go ahead and get into our top 10 games. My, specifically, top 10 games of 2025. And what better way to reinforce the fact these are all opinions than having Grand Theft Auto kick off the list at number 10. Please do not crucify me for this. I know this has got to be one of the most anticipated games of all time, but compared to the other games on this list, this is just where Grand Theft Auto fell for me. I've never really been super into GTA as a series to begin with. I've tried GTA 5 a couple of times, just couldn't get into it. The vibe of GTA just really isn't for me. I don't know, I'm not super into the whole gangster real world setting, but what I am excited for is how this game is going to absolutely dominate the internet when it releases. I have no doubt this game will break records, and we'll be seeing TikToks and YouTube shorts about the campaign and multiplayer for at least a few months following GTA's release. That is, if TikTok still exists. I mean, this game is projected to make $3 billion in its first year of sale, and honestly, I have no doubt that that will happen. Once we see some proper gameplay for this, it may move up higher on my list, but right now, it still breaks the top 10 at number 10. That is, if it does release in 2025. I have a suspicion this could get pushed back into 2026. Okay, so you may be asking, what could possibly be more anticipated than GTA 6? Well, how about FBC Firebreak at number 9? You've probably not heard of this game before, and if you have, it's because you're like me and you like games made by Remedy. Yeah, this comes from Remedy, the studio that brought us bangers like Control, one of my favorite games of all time, and most recently, Alan Wake 2, which I may or may not be playing right now. Now, I'll be honest, from the gameplay alone, I'm not completely sold here. We've only seen short clips, so once we see more, maybe I'll be more excited about this one. FBC Firebreak is a 3-player co-op PvE experience set in the oldest house, which is a location in Control. And because it's Remedy, I'm putting a little bit of faith in this one. It's a bit of a departure from what Remedy is typically known for. They usually develop third-person story-driven games with a lot of stopping and watching and reading or listening. So I'm interested and hopeful that this is an awesome multiplayer experience unlike any that we've ever played before. Part of me wishes this was a single-player game more akin to their past work, but if FBC Firebreak is what the team wanted to make and they're excited about it, then I will go ahead and give it a go and be excited about it too. Not to mention that FBC Firebreak is also coming to PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass, I believe, whenever it releases, so that's a huge perk. I will no doubt be playing this one when it comes out later this year. Jumping up a few spots from honorable mention is Hell Is Us at number 8, a new game from Rogue Factor. In fact, it's the first they've released in 10 years, so this is a big deal for them. Originally, this game was in my honorable mentions list, but the more I looked into it, the more my interest was piqued. It's a third-person melee combat game set in a semi-open world, and the developers actually released a 15-minute deep dive trailer where the creative director broke down some of their design elements in Hell Is Us. When I started to watch this, I was just kind of skipping through it, but as I kept listening, I stopped hitting the skip button altogether. I'll link this 15-minute deep dive video down below if you want to watch it for yourself. But what I gathered from it is that Hell Is Us is taking an approach to game design Rogue Factor is calling player plattering. And what they mean by that is exploration and game discovery is primarily up to the player. They contrast player plattering to silver plattering, saying games will often give you everything on a silver platter, your quest log, your compass, your navigation map, even hints you didn't ask for when you're trying to solve a puzzle. Looking at you, God of War Ragnarok. To quote the developer, developers, everything is there, you just need to open your ears and open your eyes. The art direction in this game also looks fantastic, reminding me a lot of Returnal. I freaking love Returnal. I mean, look at the scene right here. You've got a massive two-headed dragon statue surrounded by some humanoid figure. I'm a sucker for crazy, weird, and unique game direction. If Hell's Us delivers and plays as good as it's looking right now, this will be one to remember. Again, no release date for this one yet, other than it's coming in 2025. Up next at number 7, we have a game I'm really excited for, and that is Split Fiction. This was revealed at the Game Awards and comes from Hazelight Studios, the people who brought us A Way Out, and more notably, Game of the Year winner, It Takes Two. Both of these hold a very special place in my heart. They are two-player co-op games that involve you working together to do whatever it is you're going to do. If you have not played It Takes Two, go and do that now. I don't care if you have to post on some random subreddit or hold up a sign on the side of the road with your gamer tag saying, looking for It Takes Two, player number 2. God bless. Do it, and you'll have an experience that you won't forget. There are so many gameplay elements that are constantly being thrown at you, new areas to explore that invoke your childhood sense of imagination, and none of us will ever forget that one elephant scene. Oh, rest in peace. Split Fiction looks to deliver more of what Hazelight has brought us in the past, taking place in both a sci-fi and a fantasy world. Looking forward to seeing how they pull this one off when it comes out March 6th, pretty soon actually. Sticking with the indie trend, our number 6 spot goes to Hades 2, which is kind of out right now. It's in early access, but I'm not playing Hades 2 in early access. I'll have to wait with all the rest of the console crowd for a full release of this game, and I'm hopeful it'll be worth the wait. Switch to launch title? Question mark, please? So far, everything that's been said about Hades 2 is that it's just Hades 1, but bigger and better, to the extent that even in early access, Hades 2 is currently bigger than the first Hades right now. If you saw my video on Hades, you should know why I'm excited for this one. Great combat, great story, great build variety, really utilizing that roguelike element of the game, amazing voice acting, great music. Still, I'm hoping this feels distinct enough from the first to justify a proper sequel. From what I heard, that is the case. I'm always just a little hesitant when I see sequels like this, especially when they look so similar to the first one. No release date on this one yet, other than anywhere from Q2 to Q4 of 2025. Our first and only turn-based game on this list goes to one I actually forgot about, and then after I had already recorded, I was in the shower thinking about— that's not weird, right? I was in the shower thinking about this video when all of a sudden I remembered this trailer, and I had to put it on the list. Taking our number 5 spot is Clair Obscur Expedition 33, maybe our longest title in this list as well. This is a debut title from Sandfall Interactive, but it's being published by Kepler Interactive, who have a pretty decent track record. Publishing games like Sifu, Pacific Drive, Ultros, and Scorn, they seem to have an eye for decent games at least. I've actually not played a proper turn-based game in a long time. When this game got announced, people were throwing out the AAA JRPG term, and yeah, it does kind of look like that, but since its initial release, it's come out that this game is only going to be a little over 30 hours, which is one of the reasons I'm actually more excited about this one. One thing that turns me off of these turn-based JRPG games is they always seem to have a 100+ hour time to beat, but give me a really tight 30-hour game, and often I'm more likely to pick that up and play the game all the way through than your 500-hour games. On top of that, this game just looks fantastic. The boss and enemy design immediately grabbed me and stood out to me, and it's got some pretty good voice actors too. People like Ben Starr, who voiced Clive Rossfield in Final Fantasy XVI. The story too is about this painter who paints death every year, and your party sets off to make sure she can't paint death anymore. How weird, how cool. I'm just intrigued by this whenever it comes out later this year. And stop the presses, just as I was finishing up this video, Microsoft dropped their developer direct and gave us a release date for this one, April 24th of 2025. And speaking of smaller experiences, we have Elden Ring Night Reign at number 4, also taking our number 2 spot for longest title. I imagine Elden Ring Night Reign is a lot of people's most anticipated game, maybe? A lot of people liked Elden Ring. This is the next game we're getting from FromSoft, makers of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, of course, and my personal favorite, a bit of a hot take here, Sekiro. I've always had a harder time getting into FromSoft games that follow their more traditional formulas, which is why Sekiro is one of my favorites. Night Reign does have me more curious though, since it's not not necessarily a traditional Souls-like, the biggest spinoff being that it's a 3-player co-op roguelike game. There are 8 pre-made characters for you to select, and you attempt to beat the game over the course of 3 in-game days. You can play this game either single player or 3-player, no 2-player though, which is kind of strange. I think that's for balancing issues, but I love roguelike games. I'm a casual FromSoft fan, so I'm excited to see how this one clicks with me and maybe the people I play with later this year. FromSoft fans, let me know what you're thinking about this one. Our second shooter on the list takes the number 3 spot, and that's Doom: The Dark Ages. I'm not sure what there is to say about this one, other than it just looks sick. Doom 2016 is one of my favorite first-person shooters, right up there with Titanfall 2. It's got one of the best soundtracks ever. Doom Eternal was fun too. People were mixed on this one, but I loved it almost as much as the first, and now we're getting Doom: The Dark Ages, which is medieval Doom, and it looks freaking awesome. In the trailer alone, we saw a gun that takes a skull for ammunition, a mace, a mecha Doom guy riding a dragon, a completely sick looking cape, and a chainsaw shield that you can throw out. This looks totally awesome. I can't wait to slay more demons when it comes out later this year. Once again, thank you Microsoft for dropping that developer direct. As I was finishing up this video, we got a release date for this one now, and it is May 15th of 2025. Really excited to play this one when it comes out on that day. Another game that slipped my mind until I started actually making this list is Judas at number 2. This is the newest game from creative Ken Levine, famous for his Bioshock series, and Judas is looking like more Bioshock. Bioshock in space, actually, which I'm all here for. Judas is not strictly Bioshock in space, though. Yes, you have your powers in one hand and your gun in the other, and you're in space, but one way that Judas differs is something that Ken Levine calls narrative Legos. Now, this comes full circle from a talk that Ken gave at GDC back in 2014, and the short explanation of narrative Legos is that a game should be able to be built in different ways based on how you interact with that game. It should be able to fit together like Lego pieces, which can fit any other Lego piece rather than puzzle pieces that only match one specific other piece. So in Judas, based on your actions, a character may like or dislike you more, and as a result may help or hinder you as you play the game. There's too much to cover in this short video about what this means, so if you're interested more in this concept, I'll link a podcast from the Friends Per Second podcast where they interview Ken Levine, and he talks more extensively about this. I'll throw in his original GDC talk in there as well. Bioshock holds a near and dear place to my heart, and I've been clamoring for a new, genuine Bioshock experience, and Judas looks to be just that, with a unique identity that will set itself apart from the source material. I'm really excited to play this one when it hopefully, please, comes out later this year. Switch 2 release? No, that's a joke. It's not coming out to Switch 2. And finally at number 1, we have the much anticipated Can Card, the sequel to Sony's hit multiplayer game Concord. Oh. If you'd like to see a Can Card game, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I can't do anything about it, but I thought that was kind of funny. And finally, at number 1, we have Ghost of Yotei, being brought to you by Sucker Punch. I mean, Ghost of Yotei, it's more Ghost of Tsushima. I know, I sound like a hypocrite with what I said about Hades earlier, but Ghost of Tsushima is in my top 10 games of all time, and if we can get more Ghost of Tsushima, but you get a pet wolf, sign me up. The way you make your way through the gorgeous open world in Ghost of Tsushima with minimal UI, letting nature guide you to your next destination, following a fox, following the winds, the flowers, it's a beautiful game. The approach to sword combat, which gives you different stances for different enemies, the additional tools at your disposal like smoke bombs, a bow, or this completely sick chain assassination, and just another game that has an amazing soundtrack. A lot different than Doom though. I'm really thrilled Sucker Punch is taking the Assassin's Creed route with the Ghost series as well, even if Ubisoft isn't. Setting Ghost of Yotei in the Edo period for the sequel with a brand new character, new tools, and a new story to uncover just seems like the right approach for this series, as well as seeing what Jin's legacy is for our new Ghost in Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Tsushima is one of the best samurai games you can play right now, and I expect Ghost of Yotei will be no different. And you can just assume whatever Nintendo is going to announce will shift some things around here if they haven't already announced it by the time this video comes out. I am excited for Metroid Prime 4 though, which actually brings us to our honorable mentions. A lot of these games were going to make my top 10, just got shifted out. Monster Hunter Wilds being the first one. I'm really excited for these games. I've always loved them, never beaten one, but this one is looking absolutely fantastic. I hope to get a few of my friends to play this one with me whenever it comes out, February 28th. Another multiplayer game, Borderlands 4. Now, some people hate these games. I still like them. Borderlands 1 is really great. Borderlands 2 is amazing. Borderlands 3's writing kind of fell off, but I like the looter shooters of these. They kind of feel like compact looter shooters that aren't live service games that you have to sink all of your time into. Midnight Walk was another one that kind of fell off the list. This game is a claymation game. It just looks fantastic. Really excited to play this. Hopefully the game design holds up to what the visual designs are looking like right now. Really excited to play this one when it releases on both flat screen and VR. That's another plus to this. Skate Story. Now, my friend Skillup did a video. He's not actually my friend. I wish. My friend Skillup did a video about this recently. It wasn't on my radar at all until he did this video, but the soundtrack alone has this making the honorable mentions list. Next up on our list, we have Rematch, which is from the people that brought us Sifu, and it's Rocket League, but without the cars. I'm excited to play this one. Hopefully it plays as fun as Rocket League does. I have never really been into sports games. This might get me into them though. I also want to shout out Avowed. Everything I'm seeing about this looks really cool and I'm really excited about it, but I don't have, again, an Xbox or a PC to play this on. So I personally will not be playing this. It's not going to make my top 10 as a result, but it deserves an honorable mention nonetheless. The following three are games I've never really been into, but I realized that they're significant. Civ 7, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, and finally Death Stranding 2. Now, I never played the first one, watched a lot of reviews on it, watched a lot of gameplay on it even. It hasn't really seemed like my bag, but maybe I'll give it a go eventually. And just a few more, we've got Fable. Maybe once we see more gameplay of this, it'll shoot up on the list a little bit more. I'm skeptical though. Crimson Desert, one that actually was in my top 10, but as I watched more gameplay, it just kind of seemed boring. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. There's a ton of systems going on in this game. Just watch a trailer for this all the way through and you'll see what I mean. There are so many systems. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, again, just one that we have seen absolutely nothing about other than a CGI trailer. Not even sure if that's going to come out in 2025. And finally, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, I'm not really into the Assassin's Creed series, but I'm interested in this one. It's just unfortunate that it's coming out the same year of Ghost of Yotei. I'm interested to see what they do with the dual protagonist setup, and of course I had to put it in here for you, my friend, who said you wouldn't watch the video unless I shouted out Assassin's Creed Shadows. So that is my list. Again, I have no doubt that your list is going to differ from mine. If it does, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to subscribe, leave a like, yeah, please do those things. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.